No,
Where
it
right
says
now?
offline. It says
No, it's going.
offline.
It's doing the thing right now. See? Look,
Oh.
live.
Oh, hi. Everyone
Live.
can hear me. Hello.
Hello, hello. We are once again live.
A
Oh, I have to
budget
open it up on.
operation with no budget is what we are.
Okay, yeah. So hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna pull us up here, Lisa. Okay, so there is, Matthew Holt can kind of be a total dick sometimes, but he did provide us very good feedback, and that's that we do not ever introduce
Oh, yeah, that's true.
ourselves.
That's true.
Yeah. So
Fair point, Matthew.
hello. My name is Kat McDevitt.
Hello, my name is
Lisa.
Lisa Berry. That's me. All
Fantastic.
the context is
Um,
you're here. You probably know who we are. You can read our LinkedIn's. I don't know what it'll tell you, but you can read our LinkedIn's for fun.
Well, I mean, that's not what this is about, right? This is kind of just like a fun load of bullshit type of
Exactly.
scenario. So,
Yeah, yeah,
I don't.
yeah, yeah. We're gossipers. We like to gossip about the health tech industry broadly, writ large.
Yeah, yeah. So we do like to do a lot of gossiping, and that's kind of what this is all about. So, hey, speaking of gossip, we didn't, and neither of us went anywhere this week.
No, I know it's super weird. And the reason for that is what we didn't explain last time as well. For me, at least, is my eye,
Your
which is
face
no
cancer.
longer hugely bandaged. Yeah, my face cancer. So
Yeah.
I did have a small, minuscule face cancer, and it was removed, and I've recovered hugely and very, very quickly. It was amazing. So big ups to my surgeon, Dr. Akama Carlson, who is an independent, double board certified dermatologist and Mohs surgeon in the San Francisco Bay Area. She's fantastic. And it was my own little tiny, tiny rebellion to the US healthcare system where I was like, okay, none of you will tell me how much this costs, first of all, like ever, 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 ever. But I was like, I think if I go outside of the academic medical center system, it might be better. And I think I was right. So we'll see. Might just heal in a really awful way, but it's tiny as you can tell. And so really great experience. And again, like my push from last week was like, please get those preventative screenings. They are no cost with insurance under the Affordable Care Act, and try and avoid the cancers of all kinds, skin and otherwise. It's great to get screened.
You should totally avoid lots of cancers. We kind of have like a cancer show
Yeah, we really
here. I mean,
do.
we have exactly one guest
Named
who's going to
for
talk about
today.
cancer. Yeah, I mean, we'll see if he shows up. It's unclear if he's going to make it. And then I just had to text our other. We've got three speakers theoretically, one of whom is here, Emily Peters, who will be talking to us about her amazing book in a little bit here, or maybe soon. We don't know when everyone's going to show up. So it could be now, it could be later. We have Eddie Lay, who is at the Chamber, the Metro Atlanta Chamber. He's going to like talk about the great city of Atlanta, where I actually live, but have very little going on because I fly everywhere else. And then we got Ben Freeberg, who is the head of Oncology Ventures, who is going to talk about cancer stuff. So it's going to be pretty amazing and pretty fantastic theoretically if people in fact do show up to our amazing talk show. But hey, Lisa, I want to talk about something before we do that makes me
Yeah.
that we disagree on very strongly, but you just
Oh
brought it
yeah.
up. So I am
Free
extremely skeptical.
healthcare. Cat is against free healthcare. No
Oh,
free
well,
healthcare for you.
every, everybody knows that. But no,
Everyone knows that.
I am very, very, very skeptical to the point of like being stressed out and venomous about the new weight loss drugs on the market. And you
Oh
are
yeah.
very positive
Oh
about
yeah.
them.
Oh yeah.
And you just posted a link about Calibrate and
Yes.
their
Yes.
little situation that they have going on. So,
Yeah.
what do you
Yeah.
what tell us
Okay.
tell us
Okay.
those things.
Okay. So what we disagree about is like the long-term safety and efficacy and
Yes.
potentially the mark. I don't know if we disagree about that. Like I'm not, I agree. Like, yes, you're right. Like there have been extensive studies about Ozempic and sort of what it can actually do. It was originally approved for like treating diabetes and is like really shockingly good at that. Like it has major, major effects in blood sugar control and hormonal control. But there's really like the question of, okay, are we talking about the entire population level? Like, what's that going to look like with, 40% of Americans who have obesity or have diabetes or both? And so, anytime you see this massive new drug category exploding, first of all, it is right to be, cautious and concerned and like, hey, what's this actually going to do? That said, like, I think that people with diabetes and also people with obesity, who are often the same people, but not always, have enough BS to deal with, enough bullshit to deal with. Sorry, this is not like a children's talk show.
There's
Bullshit to deal
a
with.
thing we're supposed to check when we have mature language
Oh
that I have
no,
not
oh
checked, so I'll
no.
do that
I
later.
think
Yeah, like
bullshit
I
is
said,
like
this is a budget operation.
it's a budget like bullshit operation. And so
Yeah, yeah.
what we disagree with is that I would say like we should just listen to what people with obesity and people with diabetes want and need in this case. They have dealt with years slash decades slash forever of like different types of drugs, like up and down and all this stigma around it. And so like really we should listen to what they have to say and what they feel and what they need. No drug is gonna solve or end diabetes or obesity on its own. And the reason why, by the way, is the social and structural determinants of health, the political determinants of health. Is like you can't just give people drugs and say like, okay, we solved it. That's not how healthcare in people's bodies works. It might be a really powerful tool for like actually treating diabetes and in the future, where necessary, treating obesity. But like one pill is not going to, or injection or whatever, is not going to like solve these structural problems. And the thing that really pisses me off about it is the cost. All the crap. First of all the articles written about this are crap. No offense, sorry, everyone in journalism
It
here.
is total trash.
Trash, total trash. They're like, has a lot of side effects, has a big price tag. Like, look a little bit behind or below the headline to understand what's going on there. Novo Nordisk, who makes Ozempic, and I want to say Wegovy, which is the formulation of Ozempic that is treating that is by the way FDA approved for treating obesity. It's not off label; it's FDA approved, whatever that means. It like they have so much money. They have like changed the entire direction of like Denmark. It is a Danish company. They have literally like changed the GDP of Denmark just for this one drug. That should tell you something about like what's actually going on here. It's a lot of money. And underneath it is also like a really potentially important like new category of drug that's really effective in treating diabetes and maybe obesity. That's kind of it for
Okay,
me.
so like I agree. I agree that it's
Rant over.
that it will improve. It will improve many people's lives, right? And like there are
Yeah.
lots of people struggling. There are a lot of
Has the
health
potential
concerns
to. Yeah.
yeah, diabetics. Yeah, obviously, great thing. Here's my issue with it, and I think this is what always gets me. Like as someone who deals with the sphere of distortion and sometimes creates it as a marketing person,
You can
this
see it. You can see
oh
the
my
distortions
god,
here.
they are following these pharma marketing people. God bless them. Where's Natanya? I don't even know, but they are
Exactly.
following the exact same playbook that they use to market OxyContin. And everybody knows that is my passion project,
Right.
working with
Right.
OUD technology to abate the crisis. It is the same
True.
thing. It's like, oh, pain is the fifth vital sign, and now we're like, oh, you can't. It's all after brain disease, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, and so maybe that's true. Maybe those things are true, but I am extremely skeptical because you can't just like photocopy that shit and
No.
not have people see it. And that
No.
caused, I mean, obviously the opioid epidemic is a horrible, terrible thing. It has ruined many, 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 many lives, and many people have
It's still
died. And
ongoing.
so, yeah, it's still ongoing. And I get very, very worked up about it. You just see this shit and you're like, what the hell? Like, it's super scary. And obviously it works, right? So that's my biggest problem is I think when you market that hard, and this is something that people are going to be on for the rest of
Marketing
their
so
lives.
hard. What are you hiding?
Right. It's like, like, I don't know. I don't know. So, to be continued. This is one of Lisa and my great debates over
We do
Signal and
debate about
Marco
this, but
Polo.
I would
Oh,
say,
my
I will
goodness.
say,
I'm like worked
I would
up,
really strongly
worked up.
recommend. I recommend the amazing podcast Maintenance Phase, and they have a great episode on Ozempic specifically that is really nuanced in how it looks at it and really makes the point that again, like you cannot solve this for all those people with a really really expensive injection that's not going to work for everyone. Like just that you need to understand there's is way more nuance than that. And so pretending that that's going to like solve all the pain or solve all the obesity and any other co-occurring conditions like diabetes, like it's not going to solve all those things, but I will say it has really interesting initial effects on diabetes type 1 and type 2, and also
Agree.
cardiovascular things we don't understand.
Agree. I agree with those things. So to be continued.
Just gonna
To be
take
continued. To be continued.
my OxyContin here and just call it a day.
No.
No, no, no,
Okay.
no, no. It was
Anyway,
a joke. It was a joke.
Listen, so we're super fortunate because it looks like all of our guests actually showed up. Just so
Oh,
everybody knows, our dear friend Solome is very sick. I mean, like, I don't think she's dying or anything, but she's really not feeling well. So she was not able to make it today. So we have, like I mentioned, Ben Freeberg is going to be up first. He's going to talk to us about, I mean, whatever he wants, but probably something to do with cancer. Maybe, we're unclear. Eddie Lay from the Metro Atlanta Chamber. He's going to tell us about probably Atlanta. I'm not totally sure. And then we have Emily Peters who's going to talk to us about her new book. So very exciting stuff. I have some very exciting graphics planned. This is Ben, in case anyone was curious here, and he's also live. So this is him. I met Ben at this Young Health Leader Summit, and I'm 40, so like I've said multiple times, I had to actually clear that I was allowed to attend this summit because I was over the line. I was over the line, and it turns out Ben is not over the line, and he did an amazing stand-up like routine. I don't even know what we call it. He's going to tell us. And it was like one of the most hilarious things ever. And I fell in love with him. And then I invited him to an underground dinner in a wine cellar where our dear friend Paul Wilder, who is in the audience commenting, was as well. So, and now we're best friends. And now we're best friends. And he's here on our talk show. So welcome, Ben. Welcome. How's it going? What's going on? How do you feel about this eagle here right below your face? I feel like it's complementary to your skin tone.
I feel so many things. One, so at the Young Health Leader Summit, I was given a belt after doing stand-up, which was the funniest thing I've ever been paid for.
Belt? A belt?
Okay.
Like a belt
They
on
gave
your
me this
clothing?
big. It was kind of like a wrestling belt,
Oh my God. Oh my God.
and I still haven't been taught that.
So
Nice.
I was trying to find that picture, and I actually went through Alex and Antoine's photo library, and there's not one of you like facing it. It's like them handing it to you from the back, and it's like very dramatic. So, but it's like a WWE wrestler belt. I don't know. I can't remember why they gave it to you. You were like champion in something?
I think it was a compliment. But when I
Okay.
when I first started doing stand-up, I think it was my first probably 10 times getting paid, there would be this guy that would hand me just like a $20 bill, and they always said, "I'm assuming this is your first time getting paid," which is
Oh
not what you want to hear as a stand-up comic. So it's a part-time for a fun thing I do on the side.
Are you going to do it right now?
Do you want me to?
Yes.
I mean, you might as well. You're already
It's
here.
like your secret talent. You can introduce yourself first too.
Yeah. Who are you?
I can. Would you rather me do a cancer bit or a new bit?
I mean,
cancer's the theme today. I have a face cancer. You know, people.
Well, yeah. Lisa's got cancer, so that sounds dramatic.
Well,
she does, but it's not really. Yeah.
It was excised.
Yeah. So cancer.
Okay. Well, so first, just to give everyone context, so hi, I'm Ben. I started a VC fund called Oncology Ventures, and so what we're doing is we're investing into early stage startups to improve cancer care and research. And so the idea of the fund is that there's a lot of incredible work being done by folks way smarter than me, investing in creating the new drugs, therapeutics, med devices. We're saying, hey, there's actually a lot to be done today in the care and research setting. And so that's where we're putting our capital behind, is different data-driven startups to improve care delivery, infrastructure platforms to make drug development and clinical trial access more efficient. And so we're backed by a few strategics, some cancer centers. We've made 4 investments, and we're actively looking for our 5th. So that's the work side.
Nice.
Yeah.
That sounds very fancy.
The health, the no vowels health.
Yes. Which they did not want me to do stand-up there yet, but I think I had enough people around. So next year we'll have a little petition going.
Yeah. You won't. I feel like we can make it happen. I feel like this talk show is so influential. You know, my mom comes to every single one.
Yeah.
So I feel like we have the people power to get you on stage for sure.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Cool. I could do a quick 30-second cancer bit, just in case there's any agents out there.
Yeah, please. I mean, we don't know who's watching. Oh, that's another thing we should say. A lot of you have said, why didn't you thank me for coming to your show? Lisa and I have no idea
Oh
how to
yeah.
find out if you came to our show. Like, we
Yeah, we
legitimately
don't
have no
know.
idea. We can just see the number of
None.
people who watched LinkedIn. So, like, like if you want us to know you were there, please send us a comment or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Anyway,
comment.
so, but
Yeah.
I bet there are agents in our audience, Ben. So let's go for it. Let's do it.
All right. So I'll start with the integration between raising a fund and having cancer. So one, cancer survivor myself, so I'm now 5 years cancer free, which is pretty exciting. And so when you're raising capital for anything, you have to get used to hearing the word no a lot. But I think you quickly learn that the worst thing anyone could say is no. So I was just at a bar with my friend, and he was nervous to go talk to this cute girl, and I said the worst thing she could say is no. And so he went up to her, he said hi, and she looked him up and down and said, please, no, which is so much worse than
2
no.
words.
And
Oh, no.
and,
You are
and
wrong.
so and so we ended up we were at a party, and this was before I lost my hair from chemotherapy, and this other girl, she offered me a drink. I politely turned it down. I said, one, I don't think chemo pairs well with Fireball. And she asked me 5 times how that I could be so sick that I can't have one drink. So I finally told her I had cancer. So now she started crying. And this happens all the time. So now I have to comfort her. And I said, I'm so sorry that I ruined your party with my cancer. I don't know why I always bring it out with me. And it was just chemotherapy. I think was the worst part of it. Once I lost my hair, everything was a bit different. But the worst part was it made water taste really weird. It made it taste metallic, except for Voss water. The other really cool feature of Voss is that if you hold a Voss water bottle up to your ear, you can actually hear the marketing team laughing at you. I'll stop there. We can keep going at the end.
Oh,
Okay. So I heard Ben do a little bit of this in Raleigh, and it actually, like, I was like dying, and I felt bad that I was
Wait a
dying and
minute.
laughing. Yeah, I was like, oh wait, I don't even know this guy, and he's like talking about cancer, and it's totally wild. Anyway, so you having cancer, I assume, inspired the fund.
Yes.
So how? Okay, so hearing no a lot, like, how hard has it been to raise this fund?
So one, the reason why really I ended up launching it is I was here at Memorial Sloan Kettering with good health insurance and friends and family, and I was young, active, healthy, and it was still so terrible. And that's as good as it gets in the US. And so I was just feeling the whole
Right.
time that if it's that bad for me, it's just unfair, what's happening. And you could see it in the stats and the numbers in terms of spend, outcomes, etc. And then in terms of raising the fund, I feel like we really hit our stride over the past few months. So I launched in January. We started raising capital earlier in the year. We started investing in our first set of companies, and we're zeroing in on what the right fit is. So one, on the investor side, any cancer center, but NCI designated, anyone that's looking to truly innovate in cancer care and actually start working and partnering with some of these third party startups to improve care, they are a perfect fit for us because they get hundreds and hundreds of these startups reach out, knock on their door. They have no idea how to sift through them and figure out which one works or doesn't. We take care of that. And so we're kind of
Hmm.
acting as this like on-demand oncology consultant. So I would say on the investor side, we're starting to realize it's them, and then it's family offices, it's individuals, it's folks that know and see that even with all of the money and resources, cancer is cancer, and it's really really difficult, and there's a ton to be innovated on. So those have been um, some of the biggest supporters and best fits. And then on the startup side, it's been amazing. It's just been I there's one there's just this new wave of innovation that's coming on the heels of regulatory changes on spend, opportunity for improvement, and it's just most people that are starting these startups in the cancer world are just amazing people. And so I feel like most of my
Mm,
day is fortunately spent learning from people who are just passionate and excited and smart. So I am having a lot of fun doing it, and it really honestly
nice.
doesn't feel like work, which is nice. and I think we're going to make an impact. So
You're gonna save America. I mean, maybe the world.
and that's why you chose this photo, and that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah. It's
Yes,
totally fine.
absolutely, 100%,
Well,
100%.
I think that issue around like that realization, which is, I think a lot of people have who are working in healthcare say like, well, if it's so bad for me, like it must be really, really awful for anybody who doesn't have the same kind of resources that I have. I think that's one step, but also, of course, listening to people who have like literally very few resources and are struggling through the worst of the stuff. I mean, the reality is like the US healthcare system, we have access in theory to some of the most absolutely cutting edge, advanced treatment, all kinds of precision medicines, things like that that are just completely out of reach. And it's very, very difficult to access if you're not at that very upper end of income and education and access and coverage and all of those pieces.
100%.
And so I'm just really interested in what we can do to get more of these treatments to people who need them, who wouldn't have access otherwise. And that's a whole world right there in terms of, it might not be specifically what you're focusing on right now, but that is something that is definitely out there in the space too.
100%.
Ben, are you focused on I mean, oncology, cancer is kind of a big space, right? Like, so is there a specific area? Are you focused on access? Are you focused on a certain diagnostic? Like what's kind of, or is it like just whatever's awesome and needs support?
So thank you so much for saying it like that, because it is amazing how many rooms I come into where someone says it's just cancer is so small and so niche, and we're talking
What?
just in the U.S. alone, 210
Can you give
billion.
me their phone numbers and their addresses and I will like beg them? Like, are you serious?
At least
I will
a few
actually egg
times.
them. Like, tell me.
And so that the 210 billion, that's not even including all of the impact it has on the workforce and all of the opportunities for early detection improvement. So I think that number is way higher, and the opportunity to impact it is quite large. So we're investing into two types of companies. One is better use and enablement of data to improve care delivery and services. So that's better early detection. So we made an investment into a company called Gabby that's doing early detection for breast cancer, helping folks understand their risk and get into the right next steps. We also did VivorCare in the survivorship space, giving everyone a data-driven survivorship care plan, helping them with their treatment and journey. So we're going to probably invest in about 10 companies like that, data-enabled and enhanced care delivery. And then on the other side, it's more of like the pick and shovel approach to investing. So infrastructure tools. So we did Health Universe, which is building like a GitHub, but for healthcare. So imagine if GitHub had overlaying SNOMED ontology, the ability to integrate into the EHR, et cetera. We did Conquer, which is helping improve biomarker development and research. So more of the underlying tools playing on drug development and clinical trials and all of that. So, and then all at the seed stage. So trying to partner with these companies early on in the commercialization journey. And then that's the number one thing we assist with, is helping them sell and get in the right rooms with the right folks, because our thesis is that if you invest into companies with the right business models, that is what actually is going to get picked up by the right folks and what's actually going to get in the hands of patients and improve care and outcomes. We hope and think.
Well, good for you. I think that's awesome. Lisa and I talk a lot about pretenders. Lots of pretenders in our lives. And
Pretenders.
so many pretenders, right? There's so many people that are like, I do amazing things. I mean, you dig in like they're not doing things. And we are very delighted that you are in the crowd of people who are doing things. So question for you, Ben. So like you've done a lot of hard things here, right? Like you've put together something that probably, hopefully, ideally, I believe will make a difference and get cool innovations to market that are very much needed. What is like the most ridiculous thing that's happened to you on this journey, like of starting oncology ventures? And like there's got to be crazy stuff, like people thinking that cancer is a small space. Like what's the most outrageous thing? I'm trying to get you to tell like one more joke. I don't
know. This just happened last week. It's different versions of this have happened a few times, where I was pitching this family office, and I went through the whole pitch exactly how I just did, and I ended with I just want to be really clear, so we're not investing into drugs or therapeutics, nothing going through the FDA approval process. And he was like, "Oh, that sounds great. Honestly, this would be a perfect fit. I really don't like taking drug risk or investing in drugs." And I was like, "I'm so glad you said that." And actually, just to reiterate, so we're not investing in drugs and therapeutics. And he went back a second time and was like, "No, I totally get it. I understand exactly what you're saying. I don't want to invest in drugs, so your fund is probably not going to be a fit for me." And I was just like, "How?"
Ear holes. Do they work?
This was like middle of the day on a Wednesday. We're both
we
sober.
agree.
Like I'm speaking English. I speak quickly sometimes, but we're totally saying the same thing. And then after the third time, I gave up because it was just someone whose mind clearly didn't want to be changed. And so different forms of that have happened so many times where it's just folks have these ideas in their mind and you could lay out facts and give them answers, and those don't matter, unfortunately. But there are also
Yeah.
a lot of people who are very supportive, and it's been incredible, and it's been really fun. And then I just saw the chat, and I didn't see the first part, and I thought that during my stand-up bit, the speakers were telling me to go on mute. So,
Yeah.
Ben,
No.
This is a really like wow.
It is a little delayed. Yeah. Well, also,
Oh my
it looks
God.
like in the LinkedIn comments, you may have, like, some people appear to have appreciated your jokes. So that's exciting.
A lot of
That's exciting.
And that's better
real-time
than
response.
Yeah. So that works out, but that's good.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, again, as someone who deals.
Should we have asked Matthew Holt to be part of this chat, because it is? I mean, he is going crazy there in the chat. I don't know, Kat.
I know.
Might have been a mistake
Matthew,
to bait him.
I know. As Matthew correctly noted, I did bait him into commenting on our talk show event post because he has 80,000 followers, and and so he
Wow.
correctly assumed that's what I was doing. But then he kept going, and now he's here. And he has a lot to say. So, but Matthew, you may have missed it. I think you joined late, but we did give you a comment in the beginning. While you are a dick and your comments are obnoxious, we did introduce ourselves at the beginning of this talk show this time. So thank you for that. Thank you for that candor and feedback. We appreciate it. 100% A+. So Ben, any parting words? Because we have to switch to the great city of Atlanta here.
Amazing. You guys are going to love Eddie. I would say if there is anyone that wants to talk any form of cancer innovation, it is my favorite thing to do and spend time talking about. And also, if anyone's booking any cool comedy gigs, I am genuinely trying to merge the two, and we'll see how that goes. And you guys are great, and I'm glad we got connected, and thank you for having me.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ben. We'll talk to you soon, and definitely keep working on the stand-up. We'll pay you more than $20 a day. We promise.
Yeah. Maybe one day.
I don't take it. I have there's a charity called Immerman Angels. It's peer-to-peer cancer support. It's absolutely amazing. Every time someone pays me, I just tell them to go donate there. So if there's anyone that's feeling generous or in a donating mood, immermanangels.com or .org. I don't know.
You can put it in the chat, Ben. Put it in the chat so people will see it.
Awesome.
We'll find
it.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks, team.
All right, we got this transitional image that I love very much to introduce Eddie Lay. So hold on, we'll actually pull him up in a minute, but I feel like a good transition can't be beat. So this is Eddie. So again, I met Eddie in Raleigh, not Atlanta, where I actually live, and he told me all about the city I actually live in, and seems like a decent person. Also, Nadine, resident Atlanta startup healthcare person, loves Eddie. So I was like, well, it's probably true. Like, it's probably fine. So welcome to the show, Eddie.
Thanks, guys. Once you get to know me, I'm not so bad. Appreciate the time. I don't know. I think, it seems like this is free flowing and fun, and you can say whatever words you'd like to say. I'll start out with this.
You certainly can.
I'll start out with this. Does anyone in the comments or on this call know where the American Cancer Society is headquartered?
Oh, I feel like it's like a trick question.
I feel like we might know if you tell us it's Atlanta.
It's Atlanta.
I'm
right,
shocked.
Well, that's my contribution to the theme. But yeah, it's interesting. So Yeah, my name is everyone. My name is Eddie Lai. I am the senior manager of life sciences and digital health at the Metro Atlanta Chamber. We're a chamber of commerce, so we try to help grow business in the Metro Atlanta region, which actually is a huge 29 county, 6 million person region. Really fast growing. You guys might know it from the TV shows or Coca Cola. You've flown to our airport, but excited to talk about.
That's the other connection, the Delta connection, which is
Yes,
always mentioned in the
literally.
talk
God
show.
bless.
Is Delta
God bless
Airlines.
Delta Airlines.
Literally the Delta connection.
Literally the Delta
I'm
connection.
gonna hit status soon, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, what I do is I cover, like I said, those ecosystems, and so I go out to talk to people about Atlanta and tell them to come here. And if they're already here, like Kat, I tell them what's going on because oftentimes people are jet setting to Boston, San Francisco, DC, and the like. And then I'll be like, what's like in your backyard? And then they'll be like, I don't know. And then I tell them.
Yeah. No, it's been great. I actually learned some things about Atlanta recently. It's been totally cool. I actually, listen, Eddie, I went to a McGuire Woods event last night.
Oh, sure.
And like learned more things about Atlanta. It was very fancy. It was a good time. Kristen Woodrum invited me
out
at
of
the Four
Seasons, right?
It was so fancy. I thought I might see you there.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, no,
and then,
it's funny. I RSVP'd and then I went to the InnovateTL, which is a whole innovation focused week on all tech. I went to that reception right after a day with a program called Leadership Decab that I was doing. But I was on the RSVP list at one point.
Well, that's important. That's important. I was actually there, so that was fantastic. But I met some really cool people. It was awesome, and they told me more about Atlanta. And I'm kind of embarrassed that I don't know anything about our great city. Leslie Kirk, my business partner, she also doesn't know much about Atlanta. So it's a good thing we have Nadine because she keeps us in the cool kids crowd for sure. All right, so listen, why is Atlanta like?
To do that. It's interesting you have to hire someone in Atlanta to teach you about the Atlanta health tech scene, but it's great. But good for you guys. Well,
listen, also going back to Delta, you guys, there is no way I'm going to get diamond status in 2025 if I have a lot of business in Atlanta, right? So it's gotta, Nadine's gonna have to handle it, all of it, 100%.
Perfect.
So, okay, Eddie, like, why is Atlanta, like, why should anyone come here?
Well, I think usually the way I approach it in general for friends, I tell them, I moved here from Boston, and my friends in Boston, when I first moved here, they're like, "What are you doing in Georgia? Like, what's over there? Like, do you have electricity? Like, do you have
great taxes?
Do you have roads?" And I'm like, "Hey, come down here and you'll find out." And so, the way when we try to attract companies, it's a lot of factors. I mean, just like my job is kind of to sell Atlanta, just like any sales pitch. You're looking for what they need, and oftentimes, in healthcare, on the life sciences, med tech side, it's cheap land, good affordability of offices, and good workforce. And Atlanta has all that, right? And we don't have snow. And so, I got tired of
except for when you do, and then the airport.
Except for when we do, and we have to
just to be clear.
We have to get the snow plows from South Carolina.
Like, oh no! Yeah. Oh no! It's a
1 inch.
Tiny little bit of snow.
One
I mean, no one can drive. It's great.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
Mostly no snow, Eddie.
Mostly, yeah, that's right. And so, yeah, in terms of businesses coming here, it's partly the conglomeration of the other companies that are here. Like we talked about, some of the brand names that people know, like Coca-Cola and Delta Airlines, and namesakes like Chick-fil-A as well.
Chick-fil-A is great, delicious. Peanut oil,
great for healthcare.
Oh yeah,
100%.
But other brand names like ShareCare and other companies have a presence here, and so we talk about the affordability of office space or land space, but also the talent coming out of schools like Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Emory, and so those are some of the pieces that we talk about. And it's something for everyone. We compete with a lot of our competition in this case is a lot of cities, right? And so we'll compete with different regions and cities. And I usually have a quip or a qualm about every other city. So you name a city, I'll tell you something, but I won't say it out as publicly. But usually that's.
Can we pick on one city? Pick on one city.
You name it.
Well, I mean,
We'll come up with something.
Boston is a great
Nashville.
example, right? Okay, Nashville.
No,
Also Nashville.
let's make fun of
Perfect.
Nashville.
Perfect.
Let's make fun of Nashville.
Yeah,
I have
No,
lots of
look,
things to say
much
about
no,
better.
Nashville.
look, like
Much better.
what I like to say is like I acknowledge all the good things about all these cities too, right? So Nashville is great for
I don't.
healthcare, healthcare investment,
Eddie, what kind of show do you think this
and,
is?
and country
You're
music.
like a government employee almost, so you have to be nicer. We don't have to be nice.
That's fair. That's fair. But you know, when I think about it, and this goes the same for some other markets. Like I'm very into, one of the other things I'll say that I did in on my off time is I founded the Association of Asian Healthcare Leaders. So that's Asians in the healthcare business space. And what I tell people all the time is like the diversity in Atlanta is just off the charts, and what people might not expect, right? Both, and we're not just talking black and white. We're talking Asian, Hispanic, ethnicity. We're talking about orientation, all the like. And so Atlanta is a true city. I mean, we're about to pass. It just hurts me to say in some ways. I'm from Philly originally. We're about to pass Philly in terms of one of the biggest metros in the country. And
Nice.
with the advent, I guess,
Quality.
of a lot of this remote and hybrid work, who knows where that's going to go. A lot of people have been thinking about like, hey, why am I living in this place with, in this case, 3 feet of snow when I could be living in a place with 1 inch of
1 inch
snow
of
that
snow.
comes once a year and maybe ships on our airports, right? But I've personally, just as I've moved here, I was like the first of my friends in the Northeast to move here, and since I moved here, like I can name like 30 other people that personally I knew that have moved down here, and that's not even from work. Like people meet all the time, and they're like, "Oh, I just moved here last week from Canada," or like I moved here from Texas, or whatever it is, right? And so
Nadine is a secret Canadian, by the way, just so you know.
It's true.
Nadine, sorry to
true.
blow up your spot there, but she is a secret Canadian who now
Noted.
is
Noted.
the head of Atlanta's health tech scene, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I always have some kind of fun facts in my pocket at all times. I just found out today. I was at a meeting. I'm at Emory, in their public health building, which Emory is really high ranking for public health, and I'm in their beautiful new building. But I was at a event earlier today where they're opening a diagnostics center in one of their research buildings, and I found out that one of their faculty members, who's joined Emory, joined Georgia Tech, and also a practicing physician at Children's Hospital of Atlanta, which is having soon the biggest children's hospital in the country with the most beds, is the most funded pediatrician in the country. So that's at Emory.
Okay. So the pediatrician make $250,000 a year instead of $5.
Well, no.
Pediatricians are like the lowest. They receive like the lowest reimbursement of like any specialty.
Well, so I'm not even talking about the business side of the specialty. I'm talking about like NIH funding for research,
nice.
things like that.
Research is good. That's fantastic.
Great.
Wait,
Yeah.
okay, Eddie. I know you're being serious now. Were you gonna dig on Nashville or not?
I did my little.
Why is Atlanta better than Nashville specifically?
Well, look, the way I say it is, look, I'll say two things: real city. No offense, Nashville, and diversity. Diversity.
And
yes,
diversity.
offense, Nashville. I mean, look,
well, listen, I'll tell you, Eddie. I totally agree because the number one human type that you see in Nashville. I'll tell you, businessmen with plaid blazers.
Oh, it's a look.
That's it. That's the number one. That's the number one thing you see. Businessmen with plaid blazers. They're everywhere.
Businessmen and plaid blazers. No shortage. No shortage.
Nope.
Don't get
Well,
me
I
started,
believe it. I would definitely choose Atlanta over Nashville. I'm sorry, Nashville, sort of, not really sorry. I would definitely choose it. I almost went to public health school there, actually, speaking of Emory. And generally, I'm very interested in a city that has so much public health infrastructure and for happening at the federal level and then also locally as well.
Oh yeah,
I'm literally staring. I'm literally staring at the CDC like right now. Like I flip my.
Yeah, sometimes like we forget that the CDC is here. It's so weird. So weird.
Say hi to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know Lisa, you and I both got MPHs in Boston, so it's
a little school in Boston.
A little bit for you. Yeah.
Little itty bitty. All right, Eddie, aside from the fact that we have Delta Airlines headquartered here, and I do love Ed Bastian, he is my all-time favorite CEO, even though he tried to kick me out of the Diamond Medallion program with the rich people requirements. Give us one more amazing fact about the great city of Atlanta related to health tech. Let's keep it real.
Sure. So I'm looking at a sheet right now. If you guys want this, just let me know. Facts and
Oh my
figures.
gosh, a
But,
printout.
in Metro
Yes.
Atlanta, in terms of digital health companies, I'll say this. There's, and again, spans from one employee to many. There's 250 digital health companies. There's a robust ecosystem where you can get connected. Kat, of course, and Nadine and all the above know the health tech nerds, one of many. And then on top of that, there's all other kinds of ways to get involved with. Again, I was at a reception last night with the tech ecosystem, from venture to ideation to actual companies that are working and doing good work. I was just at a meeting where we was with Boston Scientific, which opened their first U.S. location, or broke ground on their first U.S. location in 20 years, right? And so going along with that, and it's going to be funny because it'll be right next to Boston Scientific, next to a pizza place, right? Because it's going to be in their town center.
Yeah,
And so
that's important.
Atlanta's a place where you can get your pizza and your wings and your fries next to Boston Scientific and medical devices. And so not as many places
There we
can do
go.
that. And
Awesome,
we have
awesome.
diversity in
That's
not just
great.
plaid blazers.
That's right. Yes.
Nice.
Correct. All right. Last thing, Natalia.
Your plaid
I would
blazers.
say Nashville believes that Southwest is their airline. However, everybody knows that is actually not a real airline. So strong agree. Our city is better.
Ooh.
Thank you, Eddie. Thank you,
Got it.
Eddie. All right, we're gonna send
Thanks,
you up.
Eddie.
We gotta bring Emily. Yeah, Eddie, you're the best. Thank you. Sorry
you,
for
guys.
mispronouncing your name.
Thanks,
No
Eddie.
big deal. It's no big deal.
I will see.
All right.
Right.
All right. One more transitional image before we head over to the great
Beautiful.
Emily Peters, who has
Yay.
just written this book. It's a little pixelated, but that's because this is a budget operation. So welcome, Emily. Hold on, let me find her. There she is. There she
There
is.
she is.
Hello.
Hi, Emily.
Happy Friday.
Hello,
Thank you
friend.
for having me.
Yay.
Well, Lisa, start interviewing her. You guys are like business
Okay.
partners or something.
Okay. So Emily Peters is my longtime friend, a former coworker, frequent collaborator in business and in friendship and in obviously amazing books like the one she just created called Artists Remaking Medicine, which is an incredible. I think I wrote you your first Amazon review because I'm just a nerd like that. And it says that it's a multimedia tour de force.
Cool.
Exploring the connections and collaboration between art and expression and how we can hopefully make healthcare better in the future. So there's all kinds of cool stuff in here. It's really, really creative, just like Emily, who runs a healthcare focused brand marketing extravaganza, all the things firm called Uncommon Bold. And they're amazing. She also did the brand identity and helped us figure out what we were doing with Civitas, the organization that I run, and a bunch of other brands, and works with a bunch of cool clients in health tech. And she's amazing. And she lives in San Francisco. And she has also a house that's under construction. That's all I can think of right now. She's amazing.
Wait, I can add. So I just officially met Emily like a few weeks ago, and then we partied with that hot wine at Health at the California reception. But like I feel like Emily is one of those people where you just hear about her, and it's like this like mystique. She has like the personal brand mystique where you're like, whoa.
I
don't even know what she does,
really
but
hard to develop that mystique. That is extremely intentional. So thank you for noticing.
Tell us about the book, Emily. Like, I know it was just released officially a few days ago, and we have a party this weekend. Tell us more.
Yeah. The book is just now out. It came out on Sunday, and it has been the #1 new release on Amazon all week in its category. So it's very exciting, and it's sold out in a couple of different places, which is great. So it's doing really well. And it is an incredible book. I worked on it for 3 years. I have it here. with me, Artistry Making Medicine. And it has 25 different collaborators in it, including Lisa Berry. And the big thesis of the whole book is really an exploration of power in healthcare, and why I'm always just really curious at why so many people, literally almost every person in healthcare, if you are an administrator, a physician, a patient, a nurse, any of it, you feel very, very powerless. And how is that possible for a healthcare system that is so massive, that is full of so many people with so many good intentions? How do we all feel powerless? And so the book is about how I discovered that artists and the way of thinking like an artist and really practicing creativity is a way to unlock a feeling of power and a sense of agency, and to be able to sustain the work of trying to improve our healthcare system, which is often very demoralizing work, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. Can you talk just a little bit about, and one of the things that's very front of mind because it's so visual, and I'm a person who like focuses on the visual, are some of the amazing stories about the photography of scars.
Yeah.
And some of the most arresting photographs from the book are of the scars from Kathleen, who's an amazing photographer, and a woman who's had multiple transplants and has had a whole history of that and talks about them in her life. But she really focuses on the way she's channeling that is through these incredible visual images as a photographer. You talk more about sort of some of the visual stuff in the book.
I love
There's other
that.
stuff too, like sound, music, and things like that.
I'll do a little
visuals.
AV, as we talk about it. So Kathleen Sheffer, wait, hold on there. There you can see her. She was actually the person who set me on this course of thinking about the intersection between art and medicine. She's an incredible photographer who used her photography as a patient when she was being a transplant patient at Stanford to take back a little bit of power and to be seen as a powerful person in the hospital. Because, if you're in a big, fancy academic medical center with surgeons who only do these surgeries, every few years, and they're very, very fancy, she felt very much like a piece of meat in that hospital setting. She did not feel like she was being seen as a person. And when she had the camera, she noticed that the whole power dynamic with the physicians changed. Suddenly they were a little bit on guard, right? Like suddenly they were being on their best behavior, thinking about, how do I actually talk to this person in a different way?
Right.
This person suddenly is now being, seen as powerful. And so she uses her photography both to share her own story of being a transplant patient, but also to talk about that power dynamic and how that really shifted for her. And now she's created the series of fine art photographs of photographing other people's scars. And so she talks about, she asked her surgeon, he was going to put in all these chest tubes in her chest when she had this heart lung transplant. And she said, okay, I don't care how many I have, but make them cute. And the surgeon was like, I don't understand that. And she woke up with the chest tubes right across the center of her torso, right? And she later saw with other patients, often with female surgeons, they get the chest tubes down the side. And so the scars are less prominent. And just really thinking about that's such a powerful dynamic in the way that she's using photography in her own story and also in the sector, so powerful. And so then that started me thinking, like, who are other artists who have been creating this kind of change in the healthcare system? And I talked to Yoko Sen, who is a musician who was an ICU patient and heard the sound of the ICU alarms and heard how toxic and kind of like noxious those sounds were. And she and her husband worked for 3 years with a major manufacturer, the major manufacturer of ICU alarms, and was able to change the sound of those alarms everywhere in the world. Like there's just millions of hours of sound in hospitals that are changed because of her. And the whole book is full of stories like that of puppeteers and architects and musicians and painters and writers and collage artists, all who have found a way to practice optimism and to practice hope and persistence in healthcare, because it does really take a lot of persistence to get change done in this sector.
It's incredible. And I think, I heard Kathleen's story and I heard the story about female surgeons. And I've obviously read that as well before even meeting her, but hearing it from her voice and hearing her story specifically actually really inspired me. And no joke, that's literally part of my decision in getting this basal cell carcinoma removed and finding a surgeon. That influenced my decision. And
Yeah.
so far, so good. But it's a really interesting thing to think about that you can't think about if you're not putting yourself truly, literally, if you are in the shoes of that
Yeah.
patient, the person at the end of the line who's like, hey, it's my body. Hey, by the way, when you leave, when you're done with this, it's still my
Still my
body.
body. Yeah, I
Still
still
my
have to
body.
live in this
Still
body.
here.
Yeah.
Still have to deal with
Well,
it.
and that was
Yeah.
the
So
second interview that I did for this book, which a physician named Dr. Stella Sappho, who's incredible. She's a super powerful advocate. And I
she
was
spoke
talking
at our
to her.
conference. She's amazing.
Yeah. Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And she even said, I feel demoralized. I feel like we don't even know what is possible. And so just really starkly, like this crisis of imagination in healthcare where people don't, we're so worn down by the healthcare system often that we don't feel like I should negotiate that hospital bill. Or like you, Lisa, like I should go and try to find the right surgeon for me and not just the surgeon that I got
Right.
referenced to, right? Or
Right.
I should ask who chose this color or who chose this sound and like how do we change it? And it's really that's that kind of like systemic ability to improve our healthcare system is something that is just so dramatically needed right now.
Yeah, definitely. So, the chapter that I wrote is about sort of the way that art and activism combines
Mhm.
to kind of take on some of these really awful, really gross systemic things like the crisis of medical debt and people with huge amounts of bills that are taking over their experience of healthcare. It's called Paperweight. And I talk about a couple of different groups and activists and people who are using these skills to really try and just call attention to how ridiculous and shocking and disheartening this crisis of medical debt, what debt really means overall, and then in the medical space, what that means when you literally cannot afford or it destroys your entire life financially for the rest of your life. What do we mean when we say that about our healthcare system? How can you possibly sort of counter that? And how have some artists tried to show and bring attention to, and how have activists tried to show and bring attention to this work and make changes? Some of the things you might be aware of in the medical debt space is that, because of a lot of activism and work and advocacy, medical bills don't show up on your credit report in the same way as they did before. Things like that are happening. It doesn't take away the financial burden, but changes are starting to happen slowly, bit by bit, bit by bit. Surprise medical billing. Surprise medical billing. My favorite word. Surprise bill. You're gonna have is sort of outlawed. There are still plenty of places for it to fit through the gaps, but there are changes that are happening slowly, and in the same way that artists are looking at these other aspects of healthcare and improving medicine and improving the patient experience, there are also people who are pushing on the debt side of it, and thinking about how they can make those changes.
It is both a very tactical book about how does change happen, specific examples, but also sort of a philosophical book about the ways that art and medicine have been intertwined for so long and hopefully will be again in the future, which is, I think, just a really nice combination.
So three
Yeah.
things. It looks like maybe someone just ordered a book, so I feel like total win.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, I was
And it's
going to
not my
post the
mom.
link. Thank you for
It's not my
ordering.
mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's fantastic. Um, I want to ask you a big question, but Matthew Holt would like us to ask about blood donations. Is this a
Yes.
thing? Okay,
Yes.
tell us about that.
So everybody should donate blood. Have you guys donated blood recently? Put you on
Not
the spot.
recently.
Okay.
No.
Let's all go do it this week. So
Okay.
I had the unfortunate experience of being an ICU patient in 2016. I almost died in childbirth, basically died in childbirth, and was brought
Mm.
back to life thanks to blood donors. So I received 32 units of blood and plasma in 6 hours, two
Wow.
central lines in my neck, straight into my heart, so that the anesthesiologist could squeeze the blood from the bags into my body. And so blood donation is one of those really interesting places that's like a very old and kind of like mystical seeming part of healthcare, but also is like cutting edge science and like incredible innovation. And it's like, it's really one of the most interesting parts of healthcare to me personally. And then I had the good fortune of actually working with the blood bank and getting to meet my blood donors a year after I
Wow.
was released from the hospital. We tracked them down and I still see them out at the blood bank. They're like hardcore donors, the kind of
Nice.
people who give like gallons and gallons. And so I see them often and always embarrass them, giving them like a huge hug at the blood bank and saying thank you again.
Wow, that's
Nice.
awesome. And wild. And I pass out when I give blood, but I will try. I will
I
try again.
used to. I feel
Let's
like you
try
get
again.
older and you have kids and you have more experiences with the healthcare system, and it does not phase me anymore at all. I give tons and tons of blood now. So
All right, I'll try. Maybe I can meet Lisa. We can do it together, and she can hold my hand.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
and Lisa, you can hold the salt up to my nose when I pass out, and maybe
Yeah.
I'll get enough, and it'll be fine.
You know the trick,
That's
take
so.
an alcohol wipe, and that, will help with any nausea. It will keep you awake. Eat lots of
Ooh.
oatmeal. That keeps your iron
Okay.
high.
Oatmeal.
Oh.
Got it.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay. We will get all these tips and tricks. Maybe we'll do a LinkedIn Live from the blood donation place.
Oh, I will definitely do that with you guys.
So my last question is, like, what do you hope this book accomplishes? Like, what do you want to happen?
My main thing with the book is to show people how to work on having hope and optimism, and that it is okay, that it is hard. Like, I think that's the thing I encounter often. Like, I just did an interview this week with a physician reporter, and I think there's a sense, especially for people who are really expert professionals who went, straight through top of their class into med school, and that they feel like it should be easy to be an optimist in healthcare, and they feel like it should be like, why they feel like it's a failing for them, that it's hard to imagine a better healthcare system and it's hard to fight for it, and that that feeling of being demoralized feels like a failure to them, often physicians, but really all of us in healthcare. And so one of the biggest takeaways from the book is that art is not easy. It doesn't, it's something you have to practice. It is something that you have to work on, and it is not going to be perfect, and it may never be perfect, but it is okay to do that. And it also can be really, really fun. So to find your collaborators, to work with people like Lisa, and make them write chapters for your book against their will, and put things out and have these conversations. And it's okay that it is hard, but it is very, very worthy. And it's important that we do this because we need culture change in our healthcare system. We cannot have a healthcare system that everybody hates working in, that breaks us financially, that makes us sicker. Like, this is not a functional healthcare system. And I've looked at the problem 6 ways till Sunday. And to me, it starts with the culture and feeling like we can't just give up, right, on our healthcare system. We all have to be working on it. Yeah.
Nice. I love it.
Yeah,
Well,
that was
I think,
kind of a powerful ending.
yeah,
That was like,
that was great.
yeah.
We have nothing
Yeah.
else to say. Emily, I want to thank you so much. I'm so excited that this book is now out in the world after so many years of you working on it and getting everyone around you to also work on it, which is incredible. And I just have so much respect for all of the passion you bring to this work. And this is an amazing thing. Please buy the book if you're listening to this. It is really, really great. I think
buy Emily's book.
Buy the book.
Yes, I promise you will
Buy it.
enjoy it. There's free returns on Amazon if for some reason you do not enjoy it, but I promise
Do not
that you will
return the
enjoy
book.
it.
No,
It has
Don't return
something
it.
for
Don't do that.
everybody. It
No,
has
no,
incredible
no.
reviews already. People are enjoying it, so please get a
Yay.
copy.
Awesome.
Thank
Well,
you,
thank you, Emily.
We'll have you.
Thank you.
We'll have you on in the future to do more BSing about health tech, because I know you have lots of opinions about health tech brands. So we'll talk about that next time.
Yes,
we have you on.
anytime.
So
I'm happy
more-
to be
more
your
good.
sub guest whenever you guys need me.
Oh my gosh.
Just dial me
Awesome.
up.
We might need
So-
it. We don't, never really know what's going to
We don't
happen.
really.
So, all right. Thank you, Emily and Lisa. I don't
Thanks,
know.
Emily.
I know we had like all kinds of other news we were going to trash talk, but I don't know if we have time.
So much other news. Can you just put up the special picture at the end there? There was a good one that was coming up, I think.
Oh,
on the
yeah.
preview.
Or is it this one? Is it this
Oh,
one?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think it's showing up fully, tragically.
Oh, you can't see the top part, but it says only one pierogi per child. So for anyone who will be handing out pierogies to their trick-or-treaters, strong recommend that you
Only
do
one.
this. Yeah, they can only have one pierogi. So, join us next week. Maybe we'll add music. Maybe we will introduce ourselves again. Maybe we won't.
Maybe. Who really knows?
All right. Thanks to all of our wonderful guests. Thank you, Lisa, for showing up. As always, amazing.
Thank you, Kat, for showing up and starting the
God bless America.
online stream. Yeah, absolutely. Bye.